I'd like to introduce Pepper Poulsen to everyone. She is a CTE coordinator at Bingham High School and a longtime friend. I've known Pepper since I started my career here at Jordan High School. So she's fabulous in everything that she does, and especially with, well, you are, especially with concurrent enrollment. So I'm Karma Bateman, and I am on the UACEP board, and I was assigned to present this webinar, and we thought that this would be very valuable information. Something, because it's at the end of the year, maybe we want to just put these things away in our bag of tricks of things that we can start with next year as we try to navigate these kids through their concurrent enrollment experience. So we've got Brandon here, and I think everyone knows Brandon, but Tammy, will you introduce yourself just so we know who else is in the group?
Oh, you're muted. Tammy, you're muted.
There you go.
There we go. It's been a long day today. But I work at the JTC South in Jordan District, and I'm a CTE coordinator. And mainly, I just like to kind of keep track of what's going on at the home high schools. So if a decision's made or something affects us, then I kind of know about it. But I don't work a ton with kids with concurrent enrollment, except for just solving registration and admission problems.
Okay. Thank you. Who else have we got here? It just says Lindsay Martin. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Lindsay Martin. I'm with Granite District. Julie Bagley's retiring, and I will be stepping into her spot for next year. So she shared the link with me, and I'll maybe pick up some info that I can use for next year when I start. So good.
Well, welcome. We're happy, and we've got lots more joining us. So I think we'll go ahead and turn the time over to Pepper and have her instruct us. Thank you.
Sure. So Karma just asked me to talk a little bit today about how I work with students and communicate with students, making sure that they understand fully about concurrent enrollment and how it works. So obviously, hopefully everyone's utilizing their guidance counselors. Very first and foremost, we start out in 9th grade with our counselors and their PCCRs. We make sure that we just do a one sheet with them about what concurrent enrollment is, so that the students understand the terminology. First of all, concurrent enrollment, how, it's the college class taught in the high school, help them understand the concurrent on campus. But it's right then and there that we feel it's the most important to educate them. So we do not have 9th grade in our high school. So for us, it means having great collaboration with our middle school counselors. And so that's a key, is grabbing them at 9th grade. Now, I will tell you that the cons of that is that every parent at that moment thinks that their kid is going to get their associate's degree and graduate from college before they graduate from high school. And it's because of the mighty dollar sign, right? The minute you tell a parent that their kids can take almost all of their associate degree or certificate of completion classes for $5 a credit, they're like, my kid will do this. And so then we make sure to explain, and this is where I kind of educate the counselors to educate the parents, is that if the students don't want to do this, it doesn't matter how bad the parent wants it, it's not going to happen. So we really work hard with our counselors. So that's the first step. If we kind of want to go in steps. Then obviously when they get to their sophomore year, they're here with us at Bingham. Again, we hit them again in their 10th grade PCCRs. At Bingham, we don't really encourage 10th graders to take concurrent enrollment. But there are some of those 10th graders that are becoming more and more, I guess they're having a desire to take them. So we kind of push them towards maybe more of our elective classes. So our CTEL 1010, which goes with our leadership principles class. So it's in the business department. I see Nicole on here. We work with them with Weber, and we do our marketing classes, our retailing classes, so they can kind of get a taste of concurrent enrollment and the procedure to concurrent enrollment way before they start taking all of the classes that require all the testing and things like that. So that's kind of that process as far as getting the sophomores in. Then we have a concurrent enrollment night in the spring prior to our registration, where we actually have the representative from Salt Lake Community College come, since most of our students go and take classes from Salt Lake Community College, and they go through the process of the Salt Lake Community College, the certificate of completion. And then I take a minute and I then go through how to register with our other partners, so that everybody understands how to, get registered. And that we don't just partner with Salt Lake Community College, because we have other schools that we partner with. So that's kind of the nitty gritty of the basis of how we inform students about concurrent enrollment. Then we get to the point, registration happens, they're registered, then what? And I think this is kind of what Karma wanted me to mostly talk about. Is that right, Karma?
You're doing great. I'm
like
all kinds of notes.
Okay, yeah, kind of like what happens now that we've got all these kids registered for concurrent enrollment, and how in the world do we communicate with all of them? We try to be pretty proactive from the time that we do course requests. And so for those of you, I don't know how many of you guys use Skyward. I know us and Canyons do, but after that, I don't know. But the kids go in and they say, this is what I want to take. And from that point forward, the minute we put those in, we start pulling class rosters. And we send emails home, messages home, letters home, depending on, how kids, if they're not responding to our emails, with exactly what the requirements are for that class. So it is pretty labor intensive. I am very lucky that I have a 17-hour assistant that helps me do all of this. And so we work together so that hopefully I know it doesn't overload me. I hope I help her so it doesn't overload her. But trying to get all of the kids at least 100% applied for admissions prior to the end of the school year. Now, I'm going to ask Nicole a question. Somebody told me on Monday that Weber is now also waiving the admissions fee to concurrent, but did I miss that memo somewhere, or are they just throwing a rumor out there?
Sorry, will you repeat that first part?
Yes, I said someone told me on Monday that Weber was waiving the concurrent admissions fee, and I was like, did I miss that memo, or is that just a rumor out there?
Remind me, do you have auto courses?
No. Yes, we have auto. Yes.
Are they my auto
Yes.
courses? Okay.
Yes.
It's not that all admissions fees are being waived. It's that the auto program got funding and permission to identify, I think, specific schools where students are a little bit more socioeconomically disadvantaged. And they're going to work with me and with the new USHI form that we're using for admissions to find like a discount code to utilize for specifically auto students to get admitted and registered.
Okay, that's good to know. because it actually wasn't my auto teacher, but he did tell someone else. And it was that someone else who came and told me. So that's good clarification that I will go down and tell him that it's only his program. So stop telling people.
That would be ideal. Yeah, they're keeping it really limited, like with intention. So obviously they think your school's a good fit for whatever this pilot is attempting to achieve. So yeah.
Perfect. So our goal, back to that, our goal is to have everyone applied for admissions before the end of the school year. Now, if we can get all of their testing done, it is amazing. And if anybody can help me on this, we have begged our juniors. We give all of our juniors the ACT. We have begged for them to please put Salt Lake Community College as one of the schools that they send their test scores to. They still won't do it. We give them the code. We put a little write-up for every teacher to read. I do announcements. We send an alert home through the Skyward system to parents. We have still sent over to Salt Lake Community College over 300 transcripts in the last 2 weeks with missing ACT scores that now Salt Lake Community College has to hand input.
So what we do at our school, sorry, just to answer your question, we're
you.
a lot smaller. We only have like 100 kids in each grade. But when we're registering for them for the ACT, we know that it's not required, but we actually put it in the instructions that we gave the students. So they just think they're supposed to.
Oh, so you make it like mandatory.
We just make it like part of the checklist. We're like, this is how you register. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do that. We just made it one of the steps. And that's helped a lot at our school. We still get 1 or 2, but it makes it so most of them do.
I don't know that my admin would go for, we highly recommend it. And like, as part of it, we give all of the, we give Salt Lake Community's college code, so that it's very simple for the students to do it. But as you can see, we still sent over 300 transcripts. So, we have a class of 800 juniors, but we don't have that many taking concurrent either. So anyway, so that's our biggest trick right there, is to get that ACT score. But then those that don't have it, we do send over their transcripts so that those can be being worked on over the summer. We don't wait until the fall. So I think right now I think she told me this morning, I think we're down to like 20 kids that don't have S numbers that are currently registered for a concurrent class for next year. So, but we have 300 kids that need test scores input. So you can kind of see the dilemma that we're in. So then kids that don't qualify after that process, kids that we check every transcript, ACT score, then if they don't qualify, then between me and my assistant, we actually have been making calls home and talking to the parents about the testing process, because it's a little bit confusing. And then we actually stole a sheet from Riverton High School that they did a really nice job. And if anybody wants it, you can let me know. And I'm sure they won't mind if I share it with step-by-step instructions of how to take the new Canvas course. That, Brandon, I'll tell you, is a nightmare.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't get the kids to, they get on, but it won't move them through it. They get stuck.
Nope. And they go down and they hit, they go down and they hit is it next or continue, and they think
freezes. Yeah, it freezes.
And they think they're done.
Yeah, that whole rollout has been a big mess.
Yeah, it's a big mess.
We pushed hard against it, but it's out of our control.
Yeah.
We're still sending all that negative feedback back to the testing center. So keep it coming, and yeah, we'll move it on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard because it's going to be hard in the fall because it's going to be that hurry up and wait, and it's going to affect the kids getting registered. And that's where the frustration is going to come is, you know, I mean, it's not your fault, their fault. It, you know, it becomes nobody's fault. It's just the system won't allow them to get registered for the course until it's fixed, but nobody can fix it. So
Yeah.
That's going to be where the problem is. So anyway, so that's kind of, Karma, what else did you want me to cover as far as
Well,
process?
I have one more question, and
Yeah.
I want to open it up to everyone else to ask what they would like to know from you. But
Yes.
if once you have a student who is not performing at a level that they should be in order to be successful, how do you handle that?
So I work with the counselor on that, and we decide who's going to have that communication. Because I don't know the background of all of the students. Sometimes it's better for the counselor to have a conversation because they have a background. If it's a student that doesn't really have a background, then I can have that, you know, I want to say generic conversation about, you know, college classes performing, how it could affect financial aid, you know, those things that we have those conversations about. But I don't ever just jump in and like call a kid down because I don't know if there's an underlying situation that the counselor needs to address on top of the poor performance.
Thank you. That's really.
So I try to be really sensitive to that.
So what questions do those of you who are who have joined us have? It's the end of the year.
I know.
Pepper, I have a quick question. This
Yeah.
is Tony Gibbons. I am the concurrent enrollment director at Utah State University.
Hi.
I'm just wondering, how do you communicate to parents about concurrent enrollment? Do you start that conversation with them as well at the, you said 9th grade PCCRs?
Yes.
Or are you just directing that straight to the kids?
Yes, so the parents are invited to those 9th grade PCCRs. So they do individual PCCRs with students and parents in 9th and 11th grade. So in the transition from middle school to high school, and then 11th grade, obviously into their senior year. So that does get to the parents at that point.
Okay, so you're just kind of relying on those middle school counselors to communicate the same message that you're communicating there in the high school. Yes. And hoping that it trickles down the right way. So
yeah, and
awesome.
We do meet with our middle school counselors 4 times a year on a Friday morning for 2 hours. So we're not just like handing them a flyer saying, hey, can you make sure you interpret this and understand? Hopefully I do some sort of training and mentoring to them to, you know, make sure the information, and I've offered to come, but I think they do a great job and have never asked, and I'm okay with that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question for just anybody in the high school. We're working on trying to develop like some prompts for students along the way, like sort of some templates that could be texted out or emailed out to the schools. Is that, I mean, if we were to develop something like that, could we, I mean, as long as it's minimal, I mean, we don't want to bombard students or parents with messaging, but just little reminders to do certain things with instructions. If we were to provide templates and calendar reminders to like send these things out, is that something that we could tap into at the high schools? Using your systems to email your parent or to email or text your parents? Because we don't have the parents' email. Well, we do sometimes if the parent filled out the admission application for them. But we figured that they're going to listen to something if it comes from the high school, as long as it's worded right. Is that something that we could potentially partner on with high schools to I mean, if we developed, here's the messaging, this text needs to go out at this date and this time, and this one needs to go out at this date, and it sort of flows them through a funnel or a pipeline. If we were to deliver that to you, is that something you can text to the parents and students or to the or email?
Yeah.
So we can, our teachers can.
The teachers can?
So much easier than we could as like coordinators. So the teachers can send it to their class rosters. So they like, I mean, you could send us something and say it needs to go to all concurrent or just math concurrent or whatever. We could then get it to those teacher specifics, and then they can funnel it out through Sky messaging, I think is what it's called, or whatever, to the students. It would go to any email that is in the student's Skyward account. So as a parent, you can choose, there's like 4 different options. You want to receive every communication, you want to receive just emergency communication, you want to receive all teacher communication, whatever. When they register, they choose what communication they want. They also put their own emails. Some of them, the kids go in and do their registration and they put their own email because they don't want their parents to get any emails. So it just depends on the situation, but it would go to whatever is in Skyward.
Yeah. So Brandon, are you thinking of like deadlines and?
Yeah, we're thinking just different sort of key tasks. So we're in the process right now of sort of redesigning our advising model. And so we've sort of identified 3 different phases of the advising process and things that a student would need to do. And when we need to prompt them to do certain things, we surveyed several students. So we had our liaisons go out into the classrooms and pick like 3 classes each. And they did like a focus group with the students to say, what would you actually pay attention to? What would cause you to like get this thing done that you don't really want to do, but you have to do? And so we asked a bunch of questions, and we identified sort of what are the things that would help a student to move through each step and not miss that. And so we're gonna, over the summer, we're gonna work on building that. But one of the big things was like, how can we nudge them? Most parents and students, it was like, text me or email me, and the email needs to say this and the text needs to say this, or I'm not going to pay attention to it. So what we're trying to figure out is, because we have texting systems at the college, but they charge it's like 10 cents a text. So if you're sending out like 10,000 texts or more like every few weeks, then that really like adds up a lot. So we figured if there's a way to tap into the high school system for email and text, that first they may hear it more, and we need to figure out like what are the most critical things that they have to know about, and only do those things, because we don't want to flood them. After a while, they just kind of tune it out. So that's what we're trying to figure out with our advising model, is how do we nudge them through everything from I don't know about concurrent enrollment to now I want to transition over to Salt Lake Community College or the U or wherever and continue my education. Like, what are the key things we need and how do we get that information out? So we were wondering, how can we partner with the high schools and your communication systems to do that? So it sounds like teachers, the counselors also have the ability to send out. It's just the teachers in the Jordan district.
We have the ability, it's just that we would have to go through and select each student. We don't have the ability to send it to the class roster.
Okay, that makes sense.
And do that very simply, just.
And I think it's good for the teachers to send that out, because then it reminds them as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And what about, I guess, if it's before they've actually registered in the class and there's some things we want to prompt them to do, then what would be the best way to do that?
They're still in Skyward. They're still a high school student. And so they might not have registered through their university yet, but they have registered at the high school, and that's where that email is going to go through.
Okay, but to target the ones that are just saying we're going to take concurrent enrollment next year, you'd have to go through and select those because they haven't been registered or in their classes yet.
They'll be in class lists by the end of the school year. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, Pepper? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Lisa said, because she has that Canvas course set up, that she has kids funnel through, you know, that she sends it through Canvas. Is that right, Lisa? That you communicate with them through your Canvas course.
I don't know if she's muted.
Sorry, I had to step out. I'm proctoring a final.
Oh, okay.
I'm watching them through the window. Yeah, so since I've added them all to the Canvas course, I've had good luck with that. I can also create a Sky Alert like the teachers do. It's a little more work, but not a ton. And I mean, it probably takes me 5 minutes to send out to a class. So I've had good luck with Sky Alerts as well. That's the messaging system.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna mute again because I got to go back in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, that's great. Anyone else? And this has been very valuable for me. I took an entire page of notes, so I hope that it's been valuable time well spent for the rest of you. And thank you, Pepper.
Yeah, if anybody has, you know, any comments, I can just put my email right here in the chat, and you just send me an email, and or if you have any ideas for me, I definitely am always open to any ideas. So we are great at stealing and then great at sharing back. So
Thank you. I know I'm interested in that, those instructions for testing, because we'll definitely, we had 2 kids again that we spent an hour trying to get them on.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get them tested, and you know, we're running out of days to keep trying. So, because then you have to reset the password, and then you have to wait 24 hours, and then you have to, yeah. So
and then by the time you calm their frustrations and get the nasty phone call from the parent, because it shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah, it's true. But thank you everyone for your time. Have a great last couple of weeks of school.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me
Thank
join.
you.